Pay attention to that right there.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's board meeting. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we can do a roll call.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. Board of Directors. Director Snowden.
Here.
Thank you. Director Odell. Not present. Director Stone. Director Lockett. Not present. Director Adams.
Here.
Director Robinson.
Present.
Director Leggett.
Here.
Director Taylor.
Here.
And Chairman Cody.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum for today's meeting.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to get up to the day's agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Director Snowden.
Here. Yeah.
Thank you. Director Odell, not present for the vote. Director Stone.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Lockett, not present for the vote. Director Adams.
Yes.
Director Robinson.
Yes.
Director Leggett.
Yes.
Director Taylor.
Yes.
And Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed to approve today's agenda.
Thank you, Donna.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Question, I mean, I know we go down the roll call votes, but since we're doing most of our meetings not virtually anymore, can we just all in favor and any opposed, raise your hand? Rather than making Beverly have to call all of our names. What does the rule say? In other words, can we just do it like we used to do it?
I can capture, that's totally, either way, we can capture the vote.
It just seems like it would be a little more efficient. But how do you do it? But you just think who's not here, you just put that in the minute. No, he would ask if they're on, video, and, you know, how do they vote? That's what we do at the commission meeting. Yeah, I'm saying, they're not here at all. If they're not here at all, then they're absent. I mean, they don't, whether she calls them by name or she just marks them absent.
I think we can transform into that. Since I've been on the board, this is the way we've done it. But
I think it's just simpler.
exactly. So we can transform into that. We can give it a shot.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Before we go into our presentations, I'd like to welcome Ms. Mary Snowden, our newest board member. Would you like to say anything to the board?
Well, I will say I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to serving.
Thank you. I did get a chance to meet Ms. Snowden over the weekend. We had a session in Washington DC this weekend where me and a few other board members had great outing. So moving on to our presentation. First we have our property indemnity liability and whole coverage review by Ms. Cindy Robinette with Sterling C. Crescent. Richard.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman, and board and new members, former members, or existing members. I'm Cindy Robinette with Sterling C. Crescent. We work as Chatham Area Transportation Insurance broker and consultant. This month, the marine insurance is coming up for renewal August 1st. So it'll be a really quick presentation. You have handouts of what you see on the screen with you, and we'll just walk through that very quickly. But if you have any questions as I'm going through the presentation or afterwards, I have to entertain. So it's always a matter of whether I can get the quicker to work.
And there's a
And I would like to say one thing, this is just about marine services, but you do other things for us.
That's exactly correct. The remaining, property and casualty renewals, we went through and, several months ago. And went through those renewals, and then our firm also, consults on the employee benefits. Some different associates, but, and then my associate Emily Holmes also works on the account. So, thank you for doing that. So first of all, what does the marine insurance cover? This is predominantly for the ferries and for the docks and gangways. There are two main coverages. One is the liability, it's called protection and indemnity. And the other is the physical damage for the ferry boats themselves, and that's the whole coverage. So if the vessel were to get into a collision and there was damage to the ferry, or if they ran into another boat, or if the boat sunk and the passengers were injured, God forbid any of this ever happened, but there is insurance in place, and that is what's in the marine liability coverage. For the whole coverage, you've got 4 ferries that are currently insured at different values depending on the vessel and their passenger load, age, etc. We will likely be adding several more, but those are not included in this presentation. We want to say what cover or not. Just to give you a sense, we have good experience, or Chatham Area Transit has good historical experience. There have been some prior losses. Couple this year, one is an injury to a crew member, and that falls under the Jones Act as opposed to workers' compensation if a member of the crew was injured. And then previously, years ago, we had some claims on a dock area that gave way, and some of those funds remain open. But otherwise, very low incidence of claims. So the insurance carriers are involved. There's 2 policies that are set for renewal. The first one is the primary liability, and it provides $1 million in limits. And then the protection indemnity excess provides a higher limit, a $10 million limit above the primary. Atlantic Specialty quoted is the incumbent carrier, and they quoted the renewal for a very small inflationary rate increase, about 2% increase. And then the protection indemnity is actually written by a number of carriers. The first $1 million is with Atlantic Specialty, and then the next 10 is actually shared. That limit is shared by 4 different insurers, each subscribing 25% to the overall $10 million one. You'll see on this screen the expiring premium, and then the renewal. The renewal overall is up just over 3%. So we felt like this was a very positive renewal. Again, we have not built in the pricing of the new vessels. We're getting underwriting information on those, and those will be added when they come. And that is really it. Can I answer any questions?
With the new vessel, while they're in production, they're insured by the
Manufacturer. That's my understanding, yes. We are not to take the insurance policy until they're delivered and released to us.
That 3%, that's the national average for the increase.
We're seeing higher increases than the 3%, and the larger increases tend to be in the higher level of limits because we're seeing increased claim severity, lots of large verdicts. So typically on these marine exposures, we're seeing somewhere between 10 and 15%. So we could, certainly share some benchmarking information on the rates, but this is a really good renewal. And again, I would say it's because we've had a number of good years of low or no claim activity.
Can someone tell me the age of these vessels?
Yes, I probably can. Let me check and see if I have that information. And if I can't find it right now, we can certainly get that back to you.
Juliet Going Low and Susie King Taylor, they were built in 2003.
Yes, that's what mine says too.
And,
Florence Martin's showing 2001,
one, and Mary Musgrove is the youngest.
the
Is that
2012.
correct? Yes, yeah, that's correct.
So no real change in the terms and conditions or the coverages for the renewal, and a very small, probably below inflationary increase on the rate. Anything else? Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to present to you.
Thank you.
Cindy, I had one question before you leave. I know earlier that there was some concern about insuring the new hybrid ferries because of,
Yes, some of the marine underwriters have experienced fire losses with the batteries that are on the hybrid vehicles. So that's, we're getting a lot of information right now from the builder of the vessel of how we're going to protect against fire loss. Because if you have a fire on one of these ferries and they're $5.5 million, it's a total loss. So, we're being very, careful of trying to get the right information and make sure that the architect is, aware of that. And they've assured us that they are aware and they've made a lot of changes. So we've had a number of conversations with the underwriter and with your marine team.
yes.
Kind of go through the specs of the
Mhm.
of the vessels to make sure that we have adequate protection. That's obviously the last thing you want is to lose an entire ferry or risk, loss of life because of fire.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have ETU Local 1324 Leadership Update by our president, Ms. Danya Swinton.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, well, yeah, to the board, Sam. The union, presentation is to let you know that our goal with management now is better working conditions to address the retention issues, to retain the laborers and better communication. We have met with our new, management staff, our interim CEO. She welcomed us on numerous occasions for the meeting so that we can work together for better communication to better take the company forward. We are addressing safety issues. The union only had one grievance, it's internal. So we discussed it and we're gonna work through it. So it's no mention yet that it will need to come to the board unless we can't work through it. We had a tragedy in paratransit operator, Mr. Lewis passed on Thursday. He was in the hospital for a while. We had another tragedy on a new employee for microtransit, Mr. Hardy. He's currently in the hospital in ICU. Paratransit has 30 operators, 2 out on workman comp. Within a month, we have 8 that was lost out of paratransit. 1 is promoted to dispatch. She went from an operator to dispatch, so we encourage that. And we have 3 microtransit currently. Maintenance has 34 employees and only 1 lost in maintenance. And this is between cleaners, hustlers, and mechanics. Our long-term operator, Mr. Freddie Lamar, has retired. Yet again, but this time he's at permanent. Not doing part-time. He's pitch route, so he left on last month. The union has asked that the chairman let us know about the voting to unionize for us to organize, the security call center, ticket rental, and parks clerk. We also are having concerns about the time clock policy. We're gonna speak with management first, before we go further for the bargaining unit employees only.
And the union would like the board to revisit the personal time when Ms. Valerie Ragland was our interim CEO. The board approved personal time where someone has a lot of time, they can lend their sick time to someone else. But in the approval, it says vacation time instead of sick time. Now, Ms. Ragland says she did mean it for sick time. Because I don't think it's fair that a person will have to give up their vacation time if they have enough sick time to help another employee get paid and have the all COVID is out. We don't have a lot of cushion that we had from the government when it first started, and it is spreading amongst our employees again. So I would like the board to revisit where it does not say vacation time, but someone's sick time or personal time, they can lend instead of vacation.
Well, was that a typo for the error or was that intentional?
I don't think it was
Because my
intentional.
understanding was sick time.
Yeah, I think it was a typo or something, because Ms. Ragland said she thought it was sick time too, but it is personal time in the policy.
So that is an amendment to existing.
That was not my understanding when I arrived in 21, and typically, such, policies of that and the reasoning, agencies typically, rely upon vacation time because you have to carry that liability on your books. So, the norm is to afford vacation time in lieu of sick time, and that's the reason for that. You actually have to carry the value of employees' vacation time on your book, so it's a huge expense to do it that way. Sick time when an employee leaves, typically where a company has a pension plan, that sick time can go towards their retirement. And that's the benefit of that. You know, things are changing. And as things change, we have to be open to look at what's best for the employee and for the company. But that's really the reasoning why it was vacation time, because of the value of vacation time and having to carry it on your financial statement.
Terry explained that to us when we made the arrangement. We specifically chose vacation time when we were able to give people who had COVID. We specifically chose vacation.
Was it just for COVID during that time?
It's just, yeah, because COVID is the only, no, actually, you
No.
can give vacation time to a person who has like cancer
Yes.
and they were doing cancer treatment. So we made it to cover anyone's extended illness that somebody wanted to supplement so that that person could retain payment during the time of their out. So, and Terry told us we could not or should not, I don't remember if it was could or shouldn't, use sick time. So it had to be vacation time.
So in corporations, sick time is banked, like bank sick time.
Sick time is banked.
Right, and then you can go to the.
You earn vacation,
Right,
yeah.
so.
And vacation is a plus, it's great.
Yeah,
So you can give up the gravy and keep the meat and potatoes, which is sick time.
so the person retires and never use their sick time, they can buy out, you pay them out. And pay
Not
them.
sick time. No, you pay out the vacation
Vacation,
time
right,
because they've earned that.
right.
But the sick time, if there's no plan in place for it to go towards the number of years of service that helps them to become vested, then that's time that you just lose.
So now that is something that we were supposed to go back and address,
Right.
sick time. So that when people leave, that time can be calculated into some area. It's not calculated now, you just lose it.
Years of
We were
service.
supposed to go back through the policy committee and address sick time.
Yeah, I knew there was,
Because see, everybody doesn't get sick time. Operators don't get sick time, laborers don't get sick time, and admin gets sick time. So it's a difference. They only have their vacation that they work every day to earn. So I don't think that's right. That's something that they work for in order to help someone else is taken away. But if they got sick time, I can see that, but they have nothing but vacation, and that's earned. So the union is just asking for you all to look at it, revisit it, and maybe we can come up with something pertaining to that, especially because the bargaining unit, we don't accumulate sick time.
Is that something y'all are planning to ask for at the next go round?
Yes. I'm gonna visit it.
And I think, the board, we will bring back a report. The union's time it's PTO time and vacation time and PTO time. Really, they use it whether it's sick or personal, in addition to vacation time. So
Because PTO is in lieu of sick and vacation.
pretty
It's
much,
just
yes,
personal time.
it's titled
time
PTO, correct.
Which runs on a monthly basis. So depending on the years of service, if they come in, they have 8 hours, 8 months. And if they're over a certain amount of years, then they have 10 hours a month. So to accumulate is gonna be years of nothing. You're gonna have to work straight for at least
The
3 or 4
PTO
years.
doesn't carry over.
Yeah, the PTO carries over, but you have to earn it monthly and you only get 8 hours a month or 10 hours a month, not like per check, like admin may get per check, you don't get it like that, it's a monthly basis.
But PTO is paid out, whereas sick leave is not.
That's correct. And admin, we get paid bi-weekly, so, and 0 to 5 years, you earn so much per pay period, 3.08 hours or something like that, and as you move up, you earn more.
And how is PTO calculated?
Pretty much the same, the scale may be a little different.
It's based on years as well.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So the union is just asking that the board along with management and the union can get together and review this, revisit it. So we can have something in place for more support for the laborers. You and Ms. Cutter have been working together, going through a lot of issues. We're on a positive track. So it's looking pretty good for our communication skills. So we just want that going forward.
Can I make one comment? We attended a workforce development conference last week, and I think we learned a lot, we gained a lot. And, we're looking forward to the November.
I'll be there, and then I'm glad because y'all will be able to meet the international president and the people that sit on our international level. You can learn more.
What's the next president's name?
John Costa.
That's okay. One of somebody was there representing.
Private Jermaine. Oh, Jermaine. Okay. Yes, he's the workforce development director.
Yes, he was there.
It was a great.
Yes, actually, they touched on that. We gotta get more towards our employees. We gotta get more, we gotta make change.
Yeah.
And those changes gotta benefit our employees. So we definitely will look into that.
Okay, thank you, Lord. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next, we have our consent item.
The chairman will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, consent items.
Second. I'll second that motion. Yeah, we can do a roll call. Please.
No, we just all in favor.
All
All in favor?
in favor.
Any opposed?
Do you need people to keep their hands up for recording purposes or?
That will help for recording purposes.
Okay, all in favor?
Hold your hands up until she gets there.
Okay,
It looks unanimous.
it's unanimous. Thank you. And Chairman, just for the record, I'll state that the consent items 1 through 8 was approved, motion by Director Stone, seconded by Director Lockett, and it passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our individual action items.
Yes, sir. The first action item is, request board approval of the FY 25 property and indemnity liability and hull coverage insurance for marine services.
But she just gave the report.
Yes,
I'll make a
Alright.
motion to approve.
Second. Do we have
All in favor?
all in favor?
Oh, is this what we doing now?
They gotta call everybody's name individually.
Oh,
Any nays?
Any nays?
Chairman, for the record, for action 5.1, was motion by Director Stone, seconded by Director Leggett, and it passed unanimously, 9-0.
Thank you.
action item, number 2 is requesting board approval to transfer $348,240 from the operating account to our Georgia Fund One reserve account, in compliance with our reserve policy.
And we can afford to do that.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
And I'll make the motion to approve.
But before we do that, I was just gonna ask, just for clarity purposes, can you give us a little bit of, more information of where this money is going and where it's coming from and how do we make that?
The money is coming from the operating account and really funded by operating savings of FY 24. It will be transferred from the operating account at Wells Fargo to the Georgia One Fund account, investment account.
And that's the interest bearing.
Yes,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is.
Very good interest, I might add.
And sometimes it's just the collection of that.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Robbins.
All in favor?
And Chairman, I got on the record, Director Stone's motion. I did not capture the second.
Second.
Okay. Any opposed? No, okay. Chairman, for the record, 5.2 passed. Motion was made by Director Stone, seconded by Director Leggett, and passed unanimously, 9-0.
Georgia One Trust really kicks it.
Mhm.
It's been good to Cat.
It's very good.
The third action is requesting board approval to ratify a change order that was authorized in November of 23 for the placement of 2 television, for the procurement of 2 televisions, one on each new ferry vessel. And this action is brought forward to be documented as a part of the grant records and to get your approval to move forward with the installation of these 2 monitors upon completion of the ferry vessels.
Do we have a cost?
Yeah.
Yes, $2,000 per vessel, total of $4,000 total cost.
And you said we did something in November 2023, we approved the purchase of the TVs, and now we're approving the installation of.
Well, when staff visited New York back in November of 2023, they authorized the vendor to proceed with this procurement. At that time, it had not come before the board, and it is required that all change orders come before the board. So we are asking the board to ratify the authorization that was done back in November, because the television does bring value to the vessel in terms of alerting the passengers of scheduling, fixed routes in the vicinity, safety procedures, so on and so forth.
So how was this list in the original scope?
It was not a part of the original scope. And upon the initial visit to the construction site and communicating with the vendor, it was an option that the CEO felt was a good option to add to the vessel.
Why didn't it come to the board in the November board or the December board?
Director,
If you thought it was a good idea.
well, it should have, but it didn't. So we're bringing it now to ensure that the board is informed and it's a part of the official records.
Are there any other change orders that have not come to the board?
I haven't found any. As we find them, we will be bringing it back because it's just important that the files are well documented, particularly when you're using federal dollars and in compliance with our procurement policy.
Yeah, because when you let out the scope and you get bids on it, because this was not the lowest bid.
No, it wasn't.
And so we said,
And we were told that we were going with this one because this one was gonna come earlier. This one's not coming earlier. We've gone with the highest bidder, and now we're stuck with this baby that we threw out with the bathwater.
The construction time, it's on schedule. I think it may be a 3-day delay or something like that, very minimal. And if I recall correctly, this particular company had extensive experience in building Navy ships, so on and so forth. And so far, they have stayed on schedule.
So they have a better reputation.
Yes.
But the other company builds ferries for a living.
They did,
Yeah.
but the recommendation that came forward to the board
Was to go with the highest bidder.
was to go with director. They did have more experience. The price, I don't
In other
remember.
types of ships.
Well, it's now, I didn't go back and read it, but I recall them building naval ships.
Right, they had experience in other types of ships, not ferries. And we went with them because that was what was requested of us to do.
And they had experience with constructing
And
hybrid
significantly
vessels.
faster
Yeah,
than the other.
yeah, the
If
timing.
not so much on the first delivered ferry, but on the second,
no.
much faster, much faster.
On both. They are both due to arrive mid-November.
Right,
That's correct.
right. And my concern, my biggest concern is the fact that when we let these things out, somehow, you can't predict everything. I can agree with that, but to make a decision and not bring it back to the board is my biggest concern.
It's against policy.
So we vote based on what we're given from staff.
And I must say, we are really, the team is working on better communications, identifying what the specs should be. Just working better to make sure we avoid these situations in the future.
Yeah, we already have policy in place.
Dr. Roberts? Yes.
My point is that we are the policy making body of this organization. And we have a policy in place respectfully.
Absolutely. And I do respect it, and that's why we are bringing it forward, full disclosure,
That decision was made though.
back in November, yes, sir.
Yeah, we got, like she said, we stuck with
Going
what we
forward.
got,
Yeah.
we just stuck, we
Going
just
forward.
stuck. Yeah.
Did the original date ever change?
No. With the installation of the televisions, it'll add 3 days, and that's about it. But they're due to arrive November, once they get here, of course, they will have to go through inspections and all of that kind of thing. They won't go in the water in November, maybe early December, because of the inspections by the Coast Guard and the design engineer and all of that. And just needed to add and hopefully provide the board with a better understanding. We have problems with preventive maintenance of the ferries that we currently have ownership of. And they were really at a deteriorating state. And we really had to, timing was just so very important. And I think that's what really drove the board to agree to moving forward with the record, because it saved several months of construction time.
So I want to get a full understanding. The change order that you're bringing to us was a change order that you found after you came on as
Yes,
interim? Okay, so
Yes.
You are correcting a problem that you found.
yes.
Okay, that's what I want to be clear on.
Because in the end, when you award a contract and it says 11 million, 11.2 million. And even if that contract comes back 11.2 plus million, there's a difference. And this documents the file as to why there is a difference. Mhm.
Right, we'll get it.
I just asked that policy be followed and respectfully be followed.
Yes, Dr. Robinson. This is an attempt to follow policy, to make it right.
No, not, this is definitely.
I understand, and that's why we're just being very open and transparent in all matters.
Do we have any more questions, comments? Do we have a motion in a second? So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, all in favor?
Uh,
Any nay?
you know,
Okay.
All right.
Chairman, 5.3 passed unanimously.
Right, next we'll be moving into our executive director's report. With our interim CEO, Ms. Carter.
Yes, just want to inform the board that we are continuously working on reiterating our core values, which really rest on integrity, transparency, following policy, and open and transparent communications. I must say, I must echo the union president's comments. We are communicating, and both are committed to working together for the betterment of employees and for the organization as a whole. Realizing one cannot be effective without the other. So that commitment, I definitely will cherish. And I have confidence in the union president's commitment as well. We're gonna make it work. With that, Ms. Johnson will take us over the public information and communications presentation.
We're gonna talk about HR's status report.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Chairman Cody, Board of Directors, staff, interim CEO, and the public. My name is Aria Johnson. I'm a public information officer at the Common Area Training Group. So first, we want to start with our CAD tracker data.
as I mentioned, on the update in July 2024, 201 new Apple users and 139 new Google Play users downloaded the Cat Tracker. We had more, almost 1,200 active devices open the Cat Tracker on Apple iPhone and more than 2,000 active devices on Apple. Social media. Our social media channels continue to engage with our audiences through our posts, through our events, through many different things of that nature. Facebook continues to be the steady increasing social media platform versus the others, but we are seeing growing numbers and we are proud of that. The communications and marketing department is working diligently to rebrand Cat's image in the community. Activities for the month of August include Cat Family Day event, which I will touch on very, very briefly, and outreach to college and university students. As you all know, you guys approved to extend the Zero Fare pilot program to December. We are still seeing growing, increasing outpours and approval from the public about the program. But now we want to shift our focus on after the program and turning that data, the ridership into semester and youth pass participants, which was the goal from the beginning. The Cat Family Day event was a fun, engaging, and informative event that the communications and marketing department came up with to engage our riders and to have our CAT staff engage with our riders as well. Unfortunately, this event is being put on hold due to internal matters, as in one of the biggest things was we wanted our ITC location to be presentable, and we just haven't need a little more time with pressure washing the building and won't be done before that event. And so we're going to come up with something else for the winter and fall and keep Cat Family Day for next year because we wanted to keep that summer cookout type of thing and we just didn't think that was good for fall and winter. And that's it for us. Do I have any questions? Good. Okay.
No, you just said we're gonna have the data on how to tell through.
Yes, I believe Miss Mary will have, maybe not today, but we can get that data to you and to Ms. Cutter in an email. Planning and operations team up together to record that monthly. And so we do have numbers, so.
So I just wondering if we have a specific area where we had more participation than others.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Islands High School is one of our biggest high school participants.
And then the East Savannah High. So we can't track specifically what students getting off at what location, but what we do is we track the bus stops closest to the school and see if there's any increase in ridership in those bus stops. And so that's how we track that data.
So the increase in ridership may not be students.
We can't 100%, you know, because we can't identify every passenger that gets off and whether or not it's a student or not. But we have the ridership on who utilizes the program, and then we have the stop ridership. It's a best guess that it's probably a student getting off at if it's during school hours, getting off at a stop that can take them to a school.
So we don't have any real data.
No, but we also have the
Who uses the program.
yes, when
That's
the
correct.
student gets on the bus, the operator chooses the code to count the. Okay.
And as we get more sophisticated with technology, as we learned over the weekend, we're going to be able to better track. We have a grant currently that's going in that's technology related. Hopefully we will receive the SMART grant, stage 2 grant. It has monies for further enhancing technology because the real measure is tracking this data so that we can show the school board how valuable it is and try to help assist them with their transportation.
And don't the students have to register online in order, because I have a couple of high school students and we went online and registered that we would be catching a bus. So that would indicate that they're the people riding the bus, or the new people or the students that are riding the bus.
We'll be bringing back a formal report because I don't like sharing information outside of the organization prior to it being shared within the organization, because we would like you all to advocate for what we're doing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get into the HR stats. You all should have received them. I have Miss Nikki Oxendine, our HR manager here, and she will be able to dive into the numbers. The focus of training for the month of July was retirement education, where we had 50 union employees in attendance and 35 non-union employees in attendance for that particular session, totaling 85 participants for the retirement. There were 2 sessions, one on the 15th and one on the 16th.
At different times.
Ms. Oxendine, do you recall the time, different times? Okay. Yeah, okay, I did. And I think we are doing a better job, would you say, Ms. Swinton, in working with the union to determine what times we can get the operators in and take advantage of a lot of this training that's being provided? Yes. Okay, and this is the chart that really tells the story about recruitment activity. And it's self-explanatory by position category, the number of applicants received, the number that were not qualified, interviews scheduled, processing in B&B, awaiting interviews, and then the new hire for the month. There was a total of 30 new hires for the month of July. Positions are being filled. We're getting better applicants in. And I think the challenge moving forward is retention. We're going to be doing a lot of workforce training all throughout the organization, from top down to our operating staff. This is also going to focus on succession planning. We're going to put a lot of attention into that, preparing employees that are interested in moving up the rank to ensure that they have opportunities for training, not only the training that we conduct in-house, but we need to get them out to where they can talk with other people in the profession and be motivated, so we don't have so much turnover. We're trying to build a new CAT, where CAT is sustainable.
I have a question. I've always been of the opinion that turnover is because people leave to get better paying jobs. We have Hyundai coming in, which will be paying premium salaries. Are we looking at whether or not we're gonna need to increase our salaries to keep our people? Because it costs more to retrain than it does to give somebody a raise.
Absolutely. And very good point. And that consideration drove the FY25 budget, wherein, we did higher wage increases than we normally do. We're going to have to keep a microscopic eye on that to make sure that we are competitive. And the main thing is, it's a complete picture. Our goal is to make CAT the desired place to work, and that's a mixture of a lot of things. A balanced workplace. We want the employees to balance life and work. We want this to be the place to work, and that's our goal.
But I know we have our high turnover in the call center. And I looked at what we're paying them. And it's lower than what similar jobs are being advertised for right now.
I did take a look at city, county, and others. I think initially, maybe 2 years ago, the big jump in the call center was then. So every year, we're taking on a class of employees and trying to do better. And of course, it's driven by the revenue that we have to fund salaries and benefits. And when we can do better, we will do better.
And I think one of the things that was really, impressionable as a conference was about apprenticeships.
Mhm.
That, you know, you get them in your apprenticeship, for them, and then you promote them up, and everybody's not gonna go to college.
That's right.
That's a given, but they still have skills.
Mhm.
So as an apprentice, we can train our own workforce. And the other thing I think that we lack is legacy. You know, we got folks who work at 20-something years, if it's good for them, it's gotta be good for, you know, somebody in their family. So yeah, I think we look at like, how do we improve legacy wise?
And you know, CAT has had some really good employees who have been here many years. And they stuck with the agency through COVID. And we want to build upon that. You know, we want the employees to take ownership of CAT. They make CAT what it is. So we are working on building that type of relationship, CAT and its employees.
And I think working on building an apprenticeship program is gonna be a plus for us.
It's on the board.
Oh, the part-time faculty. How many full-time faculty do you have?
I believe it's 4 and 4. 4 full and 4 part.
So we're missing one of the ones.
Mhm. You know, and think about it this way. You only have 2 boats in the water. So we should have plenty of backup captains. And sometimes we only have 1 boat in the water. We're good. Any questions for Ms. Oxendine while she's gracing us with her presence?
Welcome.
Okay. It's not, are you next? Or is it Dr. Manning? Okay.
I thought Ms. Gloria was.
No, the finance is low.
You know, finance is always.
Bringing up the rear.
Hello, Chairman Cody, board directors, my co-staff, and also the public watching us, and new board member with the board. My name is Dr. Manny. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and I've been here almost close to 2 years. All right. First slide. Month of July, on-time performance went up just 1 point compared to June. So July, rather, on-time performance was a lot high. The target, the KPI that was set is 90% of the on-time performance. On-time performance pretty much like I've been saying all the time. If the buses get there on time, it shows that we're reliable and the public will love to use it. But if we're not on time, we're not reliable, the public will find alternative transportation.
I think 90% is the annual goal, but what are we doing to reach, I mean, what do we have in place? I mean, we want to get to 90%, not get to 90%, we have not gotten to 90%. So what are the kind of things that we think?
Yes, so what,
That, you know, that's what we need to be like, but I would like us to consider, if that's gonna remain the target, then what are we doing in terms
okay,
of
there,
to get?
yes,
Strategy.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so part of the plan is at every time point is where the bus is supposed to be at a certain point. Most of when we did the inventory for all our bus stops, you'll be amazed. Some of the time point is not even utilized. So if all this is not changed and modernized, we're always going to see that the buses are not on time. Pretty much some of the time point is not even used. I don't remember the last time I did inventory, but pay ourselves that and we have a report. So we're working on that to improve the time point. The on-time performance means was the bus at the particular bus stop on time. That's all the on-time performance is. So
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that part, but what I'm saying is we have a goal of 90%. So there's gotta be some kind of plan, strategic plan that says, we're gonna reach 90%, this is how we're gonna get it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We upgrade our time points, which is all never been done. If we upgrade our time points, we're gonna have data showing that our buses are on time. So it's part of the strategy that,
So that's a technology issue that we're talking about?
yes, the technology and also some of the time points that was there for years that we don't even need that time point. It's counting against us. Yeah, sure.
So, we as the song, we have now fully staffed and we're planning, and so one of our goals is system planning. And right now we are looking at the amount of time that the bus has to make those routes. And if we need to add more time for just, but it goes back to the technology updates that we are looking at, because we need that information to make that determination. So the first step is getting the technology update, and that will help us make better decisions to make sure that the on-time performance is more accurate.
Yeah, and that's what my concern is, we may be hit the target better, but we don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The data is-
yes, that's correct. Yeah. So our average ridership for the month of July was 171,916, which is better than the month of June. Anytime we hit 170, that means we're transporting 170,000 people per month. Higher ridership is always good. That means as our service is not even reliable, still there's a demand. And that's why we use data to see that people want our service. So do we put more routes on the buses on the route? And this is also part of that ridership data that we track. So
How many of these routes are being assisted by microtransit?
I would say, I think Mary can answer that. If we
How many-
have
how many of-
microbus,
The rides that took place in July were assisted by microtransit feeding into fixed route.
microtransit has been stopped at fixing.
It still stopped.
Yes, still stopped. So it's not a fix. It's not any effect now to kind of
Okay.
get that data. Yes. All right, so you all have the KPIs. Like I said, I included this on my template so we can see our state of our company. Are we meeting KPIs or we're not? So we can always review this, and I have questions. If you have any questions for Ms. Carter, I'll be happy to answer them.
Dr. Manning,
Yes, ma'am.
your first one says that the vehicle miles and hours of operation were lower, and that's why the ridership productivity rate was less than 18. But it says the ridership rate was 18.5 and 18.6.
No, so the board, this is before my time. The board set this KPI as 18. So if you look at the one that says target, the target says 18, greater than or equal to 18. So anytime it's past that 18, that means it's greater than what the KPI is.
So how does this comment fit?
Yeah, the report, showing the report itself, as the comment of the report.
Are you talking about a comment? The vehicle mass and hours operating were lower, which is why the ridership productivity rate is low. So this means that anytime you have a lower ridership.
No, the figures doesn't match.
What figures? The 18.5.
Yeah, it's
greater.
18.5, so it's greater than 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the vehicle miles must not be lower.
So if the vehicle,
comment's out of place.
yeah, so if the vehicle hours of operating were lower, in other words, which is why the ridership productivity is less than 18. And I mean, it's self-explanatory.
But June was 18.6 and July was 18.5.
That means June had a greater. If you look at this,
So you saw the 1 point difference in June and July.
in June and July, it's just, if you look at this, it's 1
But
point.
no, each
Point
month,
1%.
right,
A
but
point.
each month it made the target.
Oh, you probably want to say that, though.
Yeah,
Well, that's what you see July and you see June.
yeah.
That's what I'm comparing both. If you see that,
I
I
think
put,
the issue-
The
the target
comments.
is 8, if the target is 18, each month, even though July was less than June, that each month you still made your target, which is a good thing,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, you know, 18 is 18.
it's, yeah, so anything above 18,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
On-demand services, as you know, we're not operating microtransit. So we only have Cat Connect, Transit. And the paratransit side, the average on-time performance is 95. And we have been beating this number for almost about 3 months, which is a good thing. In July, we were 97%. Now, Dr. Robinson might ask why. Why is it more than the KPI, right? So when I got here, they have 0 to 15 minutes. And this was not factored in. So I'll give you an example. If a paratransit bus is scheduled to pick me at 9 o'clock, and it gets in 9:14, it's considered late. But it's not, it's on time, because there's a window from a 0 to 15 where I have to pick you up. So if I come to you 9:14, I'm on time. If I come to you 9:16, I'm late. So that window was not factored in. When we factored that in, the on-time performance has always been better. Any questions on that? Paratransit ridership. The average ridership is 5,001. July was a little low, as you can tell. What we have on the paratransit side, we have a manifest, meaning how many people can we okay to provide service for the next day. And then we have unassigned. So in other words, if you don't get a robocall, meaning that your request for ridership is okay, then we put you on unassigned, meaning like reserve, like airline, you're on standby. So we have been able to, even with the shorthand, we're able to have 0 unassigned. I've been checking that every day. So if we have like 54 people didn't get service at all, we put them on a standby, which is unassigned. That's where overtime comes in. Dispatch will be hustling to get everybody around. July was down pretty much. We have the demand, we didn't have the manpower. We were down by 6 suppliers. Anytime that manpower is high, you're going to see ridership also go side. So that's what's happening. And I advise the board to be monitoring this all the time, because all the complaints that come from paratransit, Director Taylor can attest to that. Yesterday he called me It was at a certain point, and the driver had a lot. So if a driver have a lot and dropping all people off, it's kind of hard before he comes and pick him up. So I had to go in there and say, okay, please, subordinate, but can we do something?
Let me ask you a question. On your team,
Yeah.
are all your team members licensed? They can drive?
Mhm.
So when you short and you got somebody out there,
Oh, yeah.
you don't put it in them out.
The dispatchers have a radio and they'll do all call. Dispatch office is closed. Because dispatchers take a van to go pick people up. They do that all the time.
But I'm talking folks that sit behind the desk every single day that can drive the bus and you're short-handed. Do you send them out?
Oh, yes, I do. Both paratransit and Pixwell. You're gonna see, just last week, you have two, Pixwell supervisors driving the bus all day. Yeah, that's when I got here, 4 supervisors didn't have a CDL. We put them in the program, they all got CDL. The goal is when we short staff, they have to get on the bus.
But I had another question for communication and for you, when it comes to the phone being down, does that have any impact on how you're able to service
Say
our
it again.
customers? When the phones were down, we got a lot of reports of phones not working properly. Did that impact us in any way?
Of course it does.
Yeah, it does.
So that all the report may not look as good as July, but I think that report should be about the phone being down.
Yes, and that should be notated in the presentation to help the public understand what occurred operationally.
I thought that maybe first should be put in the city, so that all supervisors that are in the department, you know, I know you only have to problem on carry transit, but you're willing to get on with just a feeling that we need to pick up. But on our side, it's a lot of someone of us something that you don't have to. So I think you need something on the place because, you know, for a fact, I told you if I see them,
Yeah.
you don't have a bus, so you'll get them to get on there and ride, but some of them have the attitude that are not driving up on my job. So I think if you're that sort of PDL, and you're on the team, you need all of them.
Yeah.
So you can stand. But I think, Gamble or something, you need to celebrate for all of them.
That don't fall under all of the duties as assigned.
Yes.
Well, it is. So, so what,
Yes, it does.
what she's saying is, and to her credit,
Remind people who
no,
ignore,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
so the credit
How is
is,
that an option?
Oh, the voice.
the credit is that the union president has been working with me on that, and I appreciate that service. So she's riding the bus and find out that, there's a lot of people at the bus stop, and one route is taking too long to get there. She called me, right? So I have to make sure that I reach out to the supervisor. Why don't you take a bus out? He said, Dr. Manny, I'm the only person on the street. He's the only, in other words, if there's any accident anywhere, it's the same guy that have to attend to the accident. I said priorities. The people have to go home. So I told union president, that's what I was going to do. Took him off his patrol vehicle, put him on a bus, and did a round trip before we got relief. So,
It shouldn't be an option.
I don't know how that's I don't know how it's an option. I mean, it's all of the duties as assigned.
yeah, it's part of their duty. Like I
Right.
said, when I first got here, they didn't even have a CDL. I wasn't here. They were all high.
I thought all of them had to have a CDL.
All of them is required, but they didn't. So
They
when
do now.
now everybody do. Now everybody do. I put all of them in the training, the CDL training, so they all got CDL. So there's no excuse I can drop a bus. You have to
Okay.
take a bus out.
First, is that 5,001, the average for the year?
Yes, so what we do is we add it all up and divide it by 12. That's just an average. So if it goes high, it's okay. Yes, that's just the average.
Average per month.
Yeah, per month.
That's a good little number.
Yeah. Now, the Card Connect, which we all love because it gives our senior citizens around. The month of July went a little bit down as compared to June. And the reason is that the Pula shuttle, we met with them last week, and I'm about to send a proposal to Ms. Carter to approve it. They have places that they want to go where most of the senior citizens wanna go, but it's just going in one direction. And so I'll do that. I'll send Skylar that proposal. If it's approved, this is gonna go up very well.
So Pooler wants its own shuttle?
No, we have part of the Cat Connect program. We have a shuttle that picks people from Pula, from a senior citizen, and take them to a location like a shopping area.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're asking to go to the
citizens are asking.
the citizens, the senior citizen in that complex, in that residence are asking to add more stops to what we have now.
Okay.
And so that will boost price.
So we talking about this, I'm sorry, we talking about senior citizens in
In
Pula?
Pula, yeah, well, we provide a shuttle.
Okay, the only issue I have with that is, Mr. Chairman, Mr. CEO, are we gonna have a conversation with Pula in the next coming year? Because they are not really on board with bringing buses or any type of cabs.
And the reasoning we did this, we were able to get a grant from the state to service Chatham County and supplement that by $5310, and that's money to transport seniors and disabled residents.
Of which a lot have moved to Pooler.
Yes, they
over there,
have
county.
a complex there, yes, in preparation for bringing back Senior Circular.
Right.
And of course, you know, Director Lockett, Senior Circular is funded by the city of Savannah. And we want to, versus it being in a confined area like downtown, we want to spread the service. So when we gather all of our data and customer reviews on Cat Connects and how successful it is, it's going to go to Pula because I'm sure they don't want their residents left out. It's going to come to the city.
He will.
And they
They
might
specifically said that they don't want it, but.
this is a smaller
can't.
bus. This
It's
is
a
a
small
smaller
van.
vehicle. And see, I think their
That's not what
concern
they
was wear and tear, but Pula is very congested.
No, their concern was that certain types of people would come into Pula and rob them and
Senior
use
citizens.
the bus as a getaway vehicle. That's the way it was presented to us.
Yeah.
Well, and
So the
this is a,
it's on the bus with the TV.
That's what they
Yeah.
said.
And again,
And
actually, the perfect getaway for the conversation.
In the history of people.
this,
So
A bus.
And bus was a getaway.
But I had a,
You can't go 12 miles per hour.
I had a conversation with, Heath Lloyd, as you know, he's now the
Yes.
city manager of
Yes.
Pula, and also with Brett Bell.
yes.
And I actually started a conversation, so it'll be a good one for us to have with Pula moving forward in January. And you just said that something has to be presented
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, we have data
That's why these
Yeah.
numbers are
We got
so
data
very
on
important.
data, for.
Data.
Ask them to pay individually, or do they reimburse the city?
That's gonna have to be the question.
Well,
Well,
the
how
customer-
it has been in the past, the city actually funded Senior Circular. It was fare free. And that's what we want it to be for our seniors and disabled residents. We want it to be fare free. So we will be approaching Pula, Tybee, Savannah,
Thunderbolt.
Chatham County, the entire county. This is a wonderful service. It gets them out, they make friends, they fellowship. Some seniors don't have any.
And it's exclusive to seniors where they don't have to worry about
That's right.
people of ill repute
Right.
coming in and using the bus as a getaway. If you're not a senior, then you don't
And
have,
disabled.
at senior and disabled,
Yes.
you don't have access.
Yeah.
to this. So what's the age that you consider a senior? Is it 55? We get an AR.
It's- It's senior and disabled, citizens.
You get an ARP card, 55, come on.
Right.
Yeah, 58,
I guess technically, if you fit the federal definition for a senior, you're a senior. I don't know if we have an individual definition for.
No,
what a
we
senior
did
is.
not. We serviced,
Residents.
senior residents, you know, the high rises, the housing areas, yes. That's where the stops were. On
And-
certain days, they went to Walmart,
Right.
certain days they went to
So-
Kroger
And
and.
that federal definition is 55.
So it would be the age that you are to live in that residence.
In that residence.
Because
Yeah,
we're serving
we just
residents.
service the
We're not
residents.
serving
No.
Yeah.
the public.
Yeah.
Not the
Made
general
it
public.
very,
So-
very
Okay.
convenient.
And just
So
for
long
the
as
record,
But we're
they one of
serving,
those
That's right.
reside in those areas.
I mean, not serving the public, just serving the people who live in those senior facilities.
In those senior communities.
it's a great service. My mother loves it. She takes it every Wednesday. I mean, she loves it. I mean, it's, like you said, you know, it gives her a chance to get out and be social with other seniors.
Mhm.
And, the drivers love it too. I speak to the drivers every now and then. They just love
They
the
do.
fact that, you know, they get a chance to,
Yeah.
you know, transport these seniors to and from their location, whether it's a grocery store or furniture store or sporting goods store or whatever. They, I think it's a win on both sides.
And you know, Director Taylor, I think what makes Pat Connects work, we didn't tell them, they told
Yes,
us
we did.
what they wanted,
Right,
where they wanted to go,
yeah,
what day of the week they wanted to go.
yeah,
And it was so accommodating and convenient for them. And that's what works. And I
Yeah.
think in all of our programs, we need to make sure we know what our riders want
yeah.
and.
and build our programs to provide and make public transportation convenient for them. That's what it's all about.
And the other caveat, that you gotta listen to the complaints.
Sure,
Especially seniors. You
sure.
know, they're not being treated fairly by any particular driver, and that may be put them in a class or teach them how to treat them, because seniors deserve to be treated royally. So.
And to that
It
note,
goes back to
Yeah.
our core values.
Yeah.
Exactly, so yeah, I
Yes.
think.
and
Yes, sir.
And to that point, since we started February, we have never had a single negative complaint. It's all positive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always on time, very reliable, you know, so, yeah, yeah.
Also, the senior circulator, I can tell you, it helped out with, paratransit, because a lot of those rides were scheduled
That's right.
every day.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right,
that's what drove paratransit.
that's right.
On-time performance, I really know, because a lot of those people book rides every day.
From the residents, yes.
To go different places, so this
Yeah.
bus that it took half of the load off of paratransit
Mhm.
and shifted it elsewhere, so they can go where they can go.
Yeah. I'm very
So if you have
dependent.
a senior that's not in a senior community, they have to take paratransit,
You have to be eligible to
take paratransit.
take paratransit. And that's why we try to go where the seniors and our disabled citizens work. We wanted to go to them. Now, I wouldn't be surprised when we survey, because we're going, one work program with service quality and customer care. They're gonna get from behind the desk and they're gonna go to the neighborhood meetings and to these stops to hear, okay, you went to these locations. Is there anywhere else you wanna go? Some seniors like to go to the Inmark Arena. You know, so we're gonna try to accommodate. And that's why we're gonna need local support, you know, to really enhance this program.
Well, we probably don't need it the way that they be talking about charging people money now. You really gonna need.
That's
our
right.
shit.
That's right.
Dr. Manning, are they trying to expand the service to go to Stillwell, because we don't service them, there's a lot of older folks still there. and there's only but one bus that they can catch.
I thought we serviced, I thought we serviced.
Yeah.
But I mean, but if you got a senior circle, you go to the senior circle of sites, still.
I thought Stillwell was a senior.
It is.
It You know, a lot of, everybody get the misconception now because like Astor, it's
Uh-huh.
not a disabled and handicapped, young and old. Not, well, you know, disabled people, young and old, that's still over at Hampstead, over there on Hampstead, it's the same over
The
there
same,
at Stillwell.
Right,
I
Now,
thought Stillwell and Rosa Sharon.
but they got an age difference, it's still, well, you know, you got people 50 and older, that's still, and.
But
now what-
But
White love and.
50 and older would be a senior.
well, this was a pilot program, so just to let you all know, this is not permanent. We selected a few to do a pilot program. And then we got the data.
So back to the few, you didn't, it wasn't never intended to hit every senior citizen, you just selected a few.
We wanted to touch every area of the county.
Of the county.
So Stillwell is Midtown, so who did we touch if we didn't touch Stillwell in Midtown?
We gotta do Stillwell, it's in the city.
Yeah.
And they are complaining because the director reached out to me and, Ms. Brenda, about it, and, I did speak without name, but I did speak with him also, like the thing, I got to get the number to him because they grew up to be in the whole, and then also, so I thought that would be kind of a.
Yeah, but we can't leave off a city facility for a city circular. Because
Well,
what
that's, you're absolutely correct. But remember, this was, grant money from the state of Georgia. When we go back to the city
That's
will
what it
tell
is.
us who they want us to serve. If they're gonna pay for it, we'll do the contractual agreement and all of that. And they will tell us the stops that they desire. They may even want us to stop and pick up at community center.
So Tag, you're it.
But you know,
Okay.
but I think the other thing is even if we do these pilot programs and we decide, I guess that's a planning function, which facility we're gonna serve and we do it citywide, there's gotta be a way to know the demographics if you wanna really get the real, real feel of what the pilot program is really doing. Cause I can't imagine Stillwell not being a part of it.
But if
Well,
the
they have a
city,
bus.
if the city is putting it on an addendum, what they consider to be a senior area, then we have to follow.
Right,
And they need to adjust their list.
that's why I asked what was the age, because see, we think senior could be 75 or older, it could go as low as 50.
We didn't go by age, we just
But
went by
Yes,
residence.
I think 50 is disabled, 55 is senior citizen.
Yeah.
If you ask the housing, authority, 50, if you're there, you're 50 and disabled.
Yeah.
If you're a senior, you're 55,
Yeah, so.
which personally I think is offensive.
Well, I think the fact that Stillwell really wants to be a part of the program speaks to the need of the program and the success of the program.
That's correct.
So I think that's a good thing.
And remember, this
so-
was after COVID.
Yeah.
They were, a lot of seniors were at home
Mhm.
alone. So this was just an opportunity to get them out, to test it, and to have data to go back to the city to ask them to reconsider reinvigorating senior circular.
And maybe on social media, we can talk about how great we're doing.
Yeah.
Since people are so excited about it. And get more buy-in from it,
Showcase it.
Yeah.
showcase it. We need all the positive plus we.
Yeah,
do.
That's right.
it was well promoted, because what we did is we went to all these residents and like Ms. Carter said, and asked them, where do they want to go? So it was more like tailor-made for them, where the shuttle is gonna go, where they want to go. And so where we want them to go. Next slide, please. Okay. On the Marine, if you all can remember, June, we had over 100,000 ridership, the highest I've ever since I've been here. All because there were a lot of events in town. The month of July, slash almost half, we had 63,015 as compared to 100,000. So this all shows that there's a demand. Though we run on 2 ferries and they're very old, there's always people that crosses the river all the time. If you can have even an average of 60,000 ridership a month, that shows that there's a demand. And that's why we get all this data to share with all, to let you guys know what's going on.
I just want to encourage us too, whenever we change schedule, we need to also update the fair.
Yes.
So it's a little bit embarrassing, the 4th of July, have folks standing in line at a certain time and no fair.
Yeah, we took your advice, and with every holiday, we're gonna make sure that it's on our website, all that campaign to let people know. There's a
That's not
change.
gonna work. You gotta put them on that board, and them, where they
Yeah.
stand.
Oh, there's a big board.
Yeah,
And that's where this digital signage and all is
Yeah.
gonna be so handy, and once the new ferries get here, the television, so that they can see
See
the
all the
schedules
schedules.
and all of that, it's really gonna enhance
we
customer
include-
service.
Did we include digital signage for that bay, that dock?
We're getting it.
Did we, I don't remember, I know we did it for the ITC, but I don't remember.
Not on the
saying-
decks.
We have, Mary, this new grant that we are going afterwards, it's at the docking locations, is that correct?
Do we have to vote on that?
You already did. To submit the grant,
Yes.
yeah.
But in the interim, I'm just thinking that, you know, to me, especially on River Street, what you see should be attractive.
Absolutely.
That board, something needs to be done.
Okay.
We just need to go out there and clean it up. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine, thank you. Yeah, the maintenance, and like by now, I know everybody knows what it means by distance between braking failures. Anytime this number goes up, it's a good thing. It's credit to the maintenance folks. Our buses we have a bus that's almost 800,000 miles, getting close to 1 million. So almost about 18 of our fleet out of the 46 have almost midpoint useful life. And I'll say this at every board meeting to let you guys know that if we don't do something, eventually we might have more drivers and there'll be no vehicle to go out.
But haven't we talked about buying the bus?
Dr. Manny,
Yeah.
Dr. Manny, you the chief.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now you have to move. The money is
I'm
in
moving,
place.
yes.
You have to move.
I'm moving, but not the rate that I wanted. The rate that I wanted would be all replacement, but because of grant and restrictions on, for the grant, we
But
can't.
you gotta start somewhere.
You gotta
We are.
start, you gotta put the requisition in.
Yeah.
Come on now, let's not do that.
I thought, that's him.
I thought we was gonna roll off from last year, when we said that we had so many buses, we were gonna get rid of the older ones as we bring in newer.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So,
But you haven't put out your first.
yeah, we did. We have, Mary, help me out here. How many buses? How many buses do we have coming in?
It sounds like, I want something from you.
No,
I'm
what,
sure.
Thank you.
Where I came from, we have about 20 buses coming at one time, replacement. And everywhere is different, like you said, go get the money. I saw about grant, right? So we're moving to the era of electric buses. Every fund that we just get from the FTA, we can't buy any diesel, it has to be all electric.
But now we also talked about smaller buses.
Well, smaller buses is also require CDL. The smallest we have here is with the 30-footer.
Yeah, but you have some routes that don't need a 30-footer. So we talked to y'all about that. We talked specifically about the big one, the medium one, the little one. We talked about all of that, Dr. Manny. So when you come tell us that we not, you know.
Well, I just want you guys to know what we have. You're right on that. I just want you guys to know what we have now.
So the next time you'll tell us what you are requisitioning for us to get?
Yeah,
Okay.
It comes before the board.
yeah,
for
everything.
approval.
You guys will know when we're presenting to you for approval.
And while we're talking about maintenance, when is the workshop to go over those bus stops? The shelter,
Set next month.
that's next month,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
So we.
I think you're gonna be pleased.
Because we got comments.
Yeah, we gotta get on it.
Okay.
Here again, and you know, I don't make excuses. Requisitions were delayed, not getting in to get the shelters and all of this. So I don't think any of us need to get up and state what we don't have. We have to manage better. You have to put action to this.
Yeah.
Money is in place. The 5-year capital plan has $500,000 in it for bus stop amenities.
And
It's priority.
yes, and my concern is
So-
that the 5th district, all of Middle Ground Road has been left off this list.
So have parts of
Third.
Yeah, but,
Okay.
Whitfield
but-
Avenue.
but
Yes.
Yeah.
the 5th district has been,
Yes.
the 5th district
Can
has
we,
been
can we,
ignored for a while.
can we have, and that's why I wanted a list from you all, because that, the list that was derived, it went by the guidelines within the master transit. plan.
Right, but wasn't somebody giving us a GIS so that we could, a spreadsheet, so that we could tell you which ones we were most concerned about?
Well, that's what's coming in September. You're gonna have a condition assessment. And I still want you all to feed us that information, because I think we're gonna have to go over 50 the first year. We
I
have a
think 30.
lot of,
But I wanted to make sure we had the workshop and we got some of them on that side. Because that's why I started.
Middle
complaining.
Ground Road. You
Middle
say
Ground-
Middle Ground?
Middle Ground, and then there's several places on Abercorn. Every place on Abercorn
Abercorn, yeah.
should have a stop.
Yeah.
And if you come down Abercorn and you get past Jackson Boulevard, you start seeing just poles.
That's true.
And I mean, it's Abercorn, that's the lifeline of the city and the
Yeah.
county. Because Abercorn goes from the river to I-95.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should be one of our showcases for that. And every stop on Abercorn should have a shelter.
Well, and I.
Did I
We have to
hear?
take these questions,
Yeah.
we've got to take it in order and limit it to questions, please.
Yeah, but I think it should be jumped when it gets to shelters. I think that's.
Yeah, it's
That's
coming.
next month.
And every day, Mary is getting, additional stops for this year priority. We're not waiting until the next set. Because some stops is just critical. And we want to make sure we get them all, and we're gonna do our best to do that.
For time purposes, I'm just gonna rush through this. The next one is just something that I added for the board to know how many people will pass by, how many people are rude. It's all monitored by the complaints that come in to the call center. Go to the next slide, please. And this is the call center, number of calls, the volume that comes in. I've always said that if the car tracker is on point and working well, it'll minimize people calling in. If I'm standing at the bus stop and I know the bus is late and it's coming, why would I call the call center? If there's no information, people are frustrated. That's why you're always gonna see the call center volume going up high. The average time is 60 seconds, which is a minute. The month of July, we had 1 minute 42, almost 2 minutes for somebody to wait on the phone. It's just not right. Let me go to the next one. Okay. So this is what, and I think Merit Odell, I work on this and I send it to you privately. So this is what is coming. We're working on with the Talk Dex is the software that works on all our phones. They're doing an upgrade. They have to do the upgrade before we start the training. So this is what is coming. When you call in, it's gonna direct you to an expert who knows about that department. If it's about fixed route, late, all that, the person will tell you the whole thing instead of people putting on hold and calling to get information. All that's going to change. So this is coming. That's my update. And the next slide, please. And the good news, I want to share this with you quickly. If you see the number that says net manpower, look on the fixed route side. I am very happy to tell the board that we have 82 net drivers as of July. That is with all FMLA workers come, we have 82, very close to our 98. So this is a very good news. You're going to see changes as next month. You're going to see drivers on extra board. All the service alert is going to go away. And if people call out, if 6 people call out, we have 11 on standby. So that cushions it. So that's the goal. We're trying everything we can to make the system better. If the buses go up, that's what the public want. You have 40, we have 5 buses on Abicon, and to have only 2 running, the frequency is going to be too long. That's not service. So all this is going to change, and I'm glad Ms. Carter's on board. We're doing our best to make the system better. Next one.
With the loss of that one bus, did that put us out? What did we lost the bus, right?
We did. It'll be down for a while for
Yeah.
repair.
We're sending it over from.
But we will be okay.
What route?
What?
The 25.
25 Westlake. Is that Westlake? The bus that was in
The Curtis, the one Curtis was on 20. Sorry. Yeah.
So we got, okay.
That's a busy ride.
That's a Johnson route.
Can you go back to the, I'm very excited from the board and for the public. We hired 3 drivers for microtransit in training. One of them passed yesterday, but I know the board that way. So our condolences to the family. And Ms. Carter is going to brief you with all the details there.
Now, did Sam leave?
How long have we been working?
Because
Somebody said somebody in IC.
How long?
Because no, the report was he was resuscitated
Oh, no.
and now is in ICU. The report yesterday was he was expired.
He had a low pulse.
Yeah,
So.
He's alive?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And he had the pass there.
why didn't nobody warn me? Board, I take that back.
Well, the report said as additional information came in, and that was additional information today.
Oh, okay.
That but EMS at the scene, according to the report, said he had expired.
Yeah, that's what I was
But he
told.
was resuscitated, God is good.
Okay, thank God. All right. Next slide and I'm done. Okay. I also want to share with the board for the first time, Charlotte Mayor Francis is going to have employee shuttle.
That includes the board?
Yes, the board members. You have your, you are part of the employees, so yeah, it'll be running from Central to ITC, and the frequency is about to be determined. We're trying to make it 20 minutes, every 20 minutes back and forth
From here
to ITC, yeah.
is that it?
So that's how the vehicle looks like. So within it, there's no financial impact. What we did is we took one of our paratransit cutaway buses, we cleaned it up, and we're gonna use that as a shuttle. So we didn't buy nothing.
So this is the shuttle that helps employees get.
Relief, yeah, yes.
You know, that fixed route, they use all of the Savannah. So
What?
will be taking on Tuesday or is it for?
This is ITC for now, but we can talk about, I think the 12th doesn't come to ITC, right? And then, yeah, we still have another spare relief vehicle that can do that. Okay, let's start.
So we did the renovation and our meeting is at ITC, then we'll come here, test the shuttle. The parking is.
Parking is hard.
Parking is hard, that's,
Yeah.
thank you. That was one of the reasons why, yes. Yeah, that's, Dr. Robinson, that was the reason for, part of the reason while we're having the shuttle. I was.
You all really
Other questions before
I just found out that only 7 people.
this one, think about 8 or 9, if somebody's sitting on the phone. It's a shuttle, so we allow, it's only employees, so they can sit in the front. With passengers, we don't, but with employees, yes. So we counted employees seat, with the passenger seat. Any questions, so I can give Mary some room?
I have,
Okay.
do we have any plans, to provide transportation for the upcoming election? Any special transportation?
Yes.
We're
Marty
supposed to.
Scott.
Yes, we
Yes.
do that.
I think you
Yes.
guys voted on it, yes.
Director Lockett
Yeah.
will remind us.
Yes, every year.
No, go ahead.
And also, how close are we to the person that software I spoke with you and Ms. Carter about? You know, the one for the paratransit vehicles that alerts the passenger when the vehicle shows up in front of their home instead of the dispatcher having a call.
Yes, with Rod March, I was on the phone also with Rod March. That's all part of the upgrade. Yes, that's gonna come. Yeah,
So
yeah.
how close are we to purchasing that? Because
It's an upgrade. They have it already. We just have to, they have to send in us the cost if they upgrade that. We have that system. They all have to do is upgrade it. So when it gets to your house, like the Uber, it will inform you that your vehicle's out. Instead of, now what we're doing now is we're calling you that your vehicle is outside, right?
and so when the bus rolls up in front of the house, it'll call the passenger.
Yeah, yeah, just like the Uber is doing. They have that features on the Rod March. We just have to upgrade our system.
Okay.
One last question? Yes, sir.
So what's the update on any new buses coming in?
When Mary gets here, we're gonna answer that question. She has more details than me. Okay. Okay, thank you all for listening to me, and we'll do it again next month.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Williams, thank you.
Thank you. Smile. Oh, interesting.
Oh, there's a mic up there already. Oh, okay. I want to briefly apologize here. In your packet, there's both the report and the presentation, but the drafts in the report were from May. So I'm reading off of, I'm sorry, the drafts in the presentation were from May. So I'm showing you the report, so you have the updated drafts. So that is included in your packet, but the ones that are in the presentation were incorrect. So first we'll begin with the monthly ridership update. And so this differs from what Dr. Manny reports to from the overall monthly ridership on the 6th route. What we do in planning is that we are looking at the performance of each individual route to see if there are any changes that need to be made, or if there's any trends that we should be looking out for. Again, looking at that on-time performance, the ridership, the demand, and so that when we do that service change that happens every 4 months, that we use the information that we're gathering through the ridership data to make sure we are making efficient changes. So you can see overall a ridership has increased, which we are pleased with. You'll see some decreases. I'll point out that on the 3B Augusta, I wouldn't be too alarmed with that decrease because if you recall, we did combine the Sunday service on the 3. So now the 3 and 3B are both recorded on the 3 route. And so that's why you're seeing that decrease in service on the 3B.
But there, if you did the combining, should you change the expectation of riders then?
For
So, I mean,
the
that 30% is a huge decrease in ridership. So if you made an exception, how do you account for that? So you won't have such a large percentage.
So if we look at the overall corridor on Augusta Road, we see that the ridership has increased on that corridor. So even though the 3B has decreased, so this compares year over year.
Right.
So the amount of service that was provided last year on the 3B has decreased, but the overall ridership on that road, on Augusta, has increased. And so overall, the ridership on Augusta has increased.
and we combined the 3 and the 3B. So, and then I would say, on the 7BC, I believe there's, and then we'll talk about this, you know, when we are talking about our technology. There appears to be some data error reading in the APC system as the automatic people counter. And so we have had the technician, they've been out on site, they've reported to fix the problem. We're still, especially on that dot shuttle, we're still seeing that data error read. And that's why we're coming to you all next month and asking for the new updates to the automatic people counter. So I suspect that that number is not correct, but I did not have an opportunity to get the updated number, so I'm reporting what the system is showing on 7BC. If we want to scroll down here, talking about the overall implementation, but this talks specifically to the transit development plan and the goal of implementing at least that 30-minute headway on those highest ridership corridors. Specifically looking at, and I want to, another thing that our team has done, again, now that we're fully staffed, we're able to do more meetings. We had a town hall style meeting with the operators on August 21st and August 27th at multiple times. And so our staff was down there getting their input, seeing what they specifically had concerns on with the different routes. And then we've also had an opportunity to actually ride the routes. So our systems planning manager was actually out today, and he was out riding on the 31. We had a lot of feedback that route, it's hard to make the on-time performance, and it's hard to you know, keep the schedule on that. And so he's evaluating some things that we can do to help improve that particular route. And so next month we can come to you to discuss some of those findings.
How many buses do you have on the 30?
The 31 has 2 buses right now.
You're giving me the 3rd bus?
Our goal is to increase the buses to 3 buses, but there's 2 factors when we're looking at increasing services: the labor force, the man hours that we have, and then the availability of buses that we have. And so right now we have the perfect amount, as Dr. Manny has noted, the number of rosters that we have with the labor force that we have in place. It's pretty balanced, and so we are really hard pressed to increase service until we can increase the number of operators that we have. So that's, we got to keep recruiting. Okay, yeah, we can move on then. This is a little summary kind of what's happened throughout the month. And I think we talked about the passengers per hour, that's a measure of efficiency. Again, measuring year over year, we have decreased our passengers per hour, but I wouldn't be that concerned about that because we're increasing the number of hours that we're providing service, and we're increasing ridership. So I think as we start getting people, as we increase that frequency, and as we start seeing that more riders will level out. You better recall a year ago, you know, we were bare bones. So we were really efficient. We were really good at operating our buses. And now we want to be really good, but be able to provide that expanded service. So you may see that decrease in the passenger per hour, but you are happy to know that our ridership is continuing to increase. So we're continuing to add service, and we're continuing to add riders. And I think those numbers will stable out as we continue forward. Another thing that I just want to point out too, and if you want to scroll down this a little, Ariel, it's funny, we always look at the weather conditions too, because you know another factor in ridership is people don't like to wait for a transit vehicle in the rain. And this July was a particularly rainy day, and I think in August we had a severe weather event. So I think you may see some particular days for those events. We can't control the weather. So, and then the other thing that I think is just an interesting statistic to think about is as the price of gasoline or diesel goes up, by trend, we have more people riding our transit service. And gasoline prices have actually been pretty stable. And I double checked this. I wanted to make sure we had no increase between this July and last July. It was the same price. for the national average price of diesel. So just something to keep in mind when looking at those ridership.
Improving those shelters for rainy days will increase your ridership.
Exactly, yeah,
I wouldn't stand in the rain without something like that.
exactly.
So we need to work on those shelters.
Want to go on?
How many more hours a day did we add
How many more hours a day?
per day? Yeah, you say we added more hours. How
We
many?
added more hours on the 3, so we increased that Sunday service on the 3. And we went from 9, we now have 9 AM is the earliest bus on Sunday. And then it comes back to, the IPC at 7:45 PM. So we were, I think, leaving like at noon and coming back at 4. We're now leaving at 9 and coming back around 7:45. So, and I think when we see those August numbers, we will, see the better ridership on that 3 on Sunday. Good
Thanks.
question. This is again, the highest performing route, 7, the dot shuttle always highest performing. And then, the 14, and then the waters corridor, we're seeing that, so the waters, we have 2 routes that run on that, the 27 and 28, and very high performing route, and 31 as well. And this shows our year-over-year increase, so you can see we are continuously increasing ridership, which is good. And you also see those seasonal fluctuations in ridership. Historically, July is actually a low ridership month. Kids are out of school, people are on vacation, and we're actually up a higher percentage in July than we were in June, which is an unusual trend in transit. I think you will continue, again, to see our ridership increase as school goes in, and then as the holidays come, well, we start to see that decrease in ridership. So if you want to scroll down to the very end here. Oh, wait, one more. Sorry about that. So you would ask about the smaller buses. So we did an evaluation of which routes would be suitable for the smaller buses. And so what we wanted to see is obviously a smaller bus has fewer passengers on it. And so these are the routes that don't exceed a maximum load of 10 passengers per trip. So those would be buses that are suitable for a smaller bus. And those are the Route 4, Route 6, Route 11, Route 12. The Route 5 is on that list, but I would be hesitant to include that because that's a new route. And so you typically anticipate your ridership to increase on a new route. So, but if we want to explore a smaller bus, these would be the ones that we would recommend to use that on.
Route 5, Wentworth route.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can go to the very. And then we don't just do systems planning and development. We now have a full staff, so we are able to focus more on our project management as well. So this is the list of projects that we are working on right now. We have a grants planning manager, and so she's responsible for identifying the grants and then applying for and managing the grants, so making sure that, the projects that if we're awarded a grant, the project that we actually implement is consistent with that grant. And then we have 2 project managers who can help move and facilitate projects. So you might see some overlap in projects, like for example, the fleet transition plan. We are managing the grants for that project. So we're applying for those grants and making sure that the funds are in place. But the actual requisition and purchasing of the vehicles would go down to asset management and operations. And so I think somebody had specifically asked about the new buses. So we were awarded a grant. So last year we did the grant. We did 2 battery electric buses in FY 24. So those have been purchased in requisition. It takes 24 months though to get a battery electric bus. So we won't see those buses for another 2 years. We are working with, and we just submitted a grant to receive funds for a hybrid electric bus. So that one has gone through the FTA process right now. It's in review. And then we're working with our partners at the Metropolitan Planning Organization. They also receive funding from the federal government to assist with transit, and as part of their transportation master plan, they allocate funding, for us, for replacement buses. And so unlike the funds that we receive, from the FTA, that we receive from CAP, from the FTA, from the 5335, which are the battery electric buses, the funds that are received by the MPO can be used for the hybrid buses. So once that process goes through, we will then be able to access those funds. So that will allow us to purchase 2 additional hybrid electric buses. But again, once we go through that whole grants process, we still have to go through the acquisition process. And even a battery, hybrid battery electric bus takes about 18 months for us to procure one of those.
So,
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I thought we were already on schedule for those buses. When Mr.
For the
Massimo made the presentation, she said that we were already within those 24 months.
Mhm.
for the electric,
Yeah.
Electric. But this is a hybrid, this is different.
no, she just said it's gonna take 24 months to get the electric ones and 18 months to get the hybrid.
So I'm not
Yeah.
sure which presentation you're referring to.
It wasn't a presentation,
Okay.
Mr. Massimo, she actually told us that that's what the schedule was, we were already in. We should already see some buses coming in between, about 18 months ago, we should start getting
Yeah,
buses
I
rolling
mean, now,
now.
before the end of the year.
You can
No,
look
no,
at
no,
some,
I'm
you
aware
can
of
look
it.
at some of those snapshots.
Yeah, it's a snapshot.
At least they had a delay in those buses. So I remember,
Well, you gotta remember too, there's a thing about it, you can manufacture buses, I think we only had one manufacturer. And they were trying, they were getting from overseas and all kind of that, but that didn't seem to be a deterrent for us getting the buses within 18 months.
But we're not planning to have all electric.
No.
We're supposed to have some hybrid.
So
So
we
according
have-
to the snapshots,
So we have a zero emission transition plan.
right?
And so, for the federal government, we are transitioning our fleet to a zero emission transition plan. Now, there has been some delay, and I think when you look at resiliency, you want to make sure you have a mixture of propulsion types. And so, we are using other sources, and that's why we're looking at like the MPO to do the hybrid. Yes, but per the zero emission transition plan, we would have a completely battery electric bus fleet. But we know that that's not achievable at this time, so that's why we're looking at those alternatives.
So to get any new buses, that we need new buses in our fleet. And so, but we won't be able to get new buses for the next 2 years.
It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like we have any in the pipeline.
Now, remember, in fiscal year 23, with savings, $2 million were put in the FY 24 budget. That money is still sitting there because operations indicated that they were going to do refurbs to get us additional buses while we await the arrival of replacement buses. So that money is still there.
But
And
has
that's,
anything been requisitioned?
the money is still there.
Okay.
The money was.
and-
We publish what we have.
That's
not snapshot.
That's what was,
That's what.
and it flipped. In all honesty, it flipped. One time it was said a bus, but then realizing the fleet being fully depreciated, it was best to move with refurbishment while we await the arrival of additional replacement vehicles.
It was not supposed to be 2 years out now.
Right,
Well, we didn't order
Yeah,
anything.
so, but anyway, so that's where we are, that's just.
that's where we are.
That's just. So we are not gonna have buses for 2 years, so why do we get rid of all of the buses that we had, because we don't have spares, nothing, right?
Exactly.
So
Well,
I have to.
if I may answer that,
Mhm.
so the FTA requires us to have 20% of our fleet. All right, so as buses come in, they replace, you can keep them here if they over useful life and over age, 12 years or 500,000 miles. Those buses are all over, they're over age and over mileage.
But
So
now,
we have to-
replace
What
the
about
buses,
the
right?
system?
We have ordered a bus by now.
We have
At
all the
least
bus,
one.
Hello.
We have, how many?
We
It's just gonna take time to get here.
it just takes so long to build them, and that's why when we delay.
Yeah.
But,
Got
Lisa.
Dr. Robinson has a question there,
But my question is about.
and then we just go to.
When you refurbish the bus, don't you extend the life of the bus?
Yes,
Yes.
So part of what I heard, our CEO say that there was money to refurbish, but it was never done. So the question is, why did not we refurbish the buses, so we can keep the fleet in operation? That would be my question.
Yeah, so the 2018 buses have half point of their useful life. Those are the buses that we're targeting on. Now, in Savannah, you only have local, we have to send an RFP, we have to get quotes, and then when it comes, we can even take all the buses at one time.
Okay, but.
So that's the process we are in
So
now.
are we moving that direction?
Yeah, we're moving
Yes,
that
we
direction.
are.
Yes,
That's all I need.
yeah, yes, ma'am.
but I wanna make sure it's clear
Yeah, why?
that the board is not responsible for any delay in a bus being ordered, refurbished, or brought down to get set up to do anything to it.
the funding was in place.
The funding was in place, and we were told over a year ago that buses were ordered. That's what we were told, that buses would be here for the 2025 year. So I'm not sure what happened. I guess we need to go back and find the snapshot. It tells us that it's there. But it was told to us, and here we are today, starting over from scratch. So I want to be clear that the board did not prevent anybody from ordering anything.
My only question is, when the bus go out and get refurbished, what do you want to replace it with? We already got to take the electric buses every day to put them when they go dead, so you only have 6 spare buses, that's it. Out of this whole entire fleet, it's 6.
If you do 20% of the 33 buses, it's 8 buses. Okay, we can't just have more buses than they require. It's an FTA compliance. So that's what I want you to understand.
It's an FDA compliance, but when we have the buses on the street, when the bus breaks down, we have to go on a roll call. When the bus break down, the driver sits in the break room because there's no bus ready to take.
Well,
There's
maybe
no-
we need to look at buying a used bus to get us through this deficit.
That's what
Are we doing that?
Well, me and Mary discussed that, and we're finding, there's some company, what they do is, and I've seen industries do that. They buy all these buses, like what we, over useful life, they rebuild them, brand new engine, suspension, it gives you about 6 more years. That's the market we should be looking at. There's a dealership that does that. They all refurbish paint, everything like new. That's the market we should be looking at. How can we? And it goes back to
Action,
grants.
Dr. Manny, action.
Thank you.
Well, it's all part of the grant.
So what?
Yes. It's not,
Why didn't we refurbish our buses? Because.
Every 600 that y'all got rid of, hold on, every 600 that y'all got rid of, they got new engines, new transmissions, new framework, new sides, new seats, new everything.
Yeah.
told you that. Mr. Clark, when you did that, what year did you guys refurbish? When you refurbish a bus, it takes 6 years. Added more life to it. Well, that has already passed. So listen, everything we do, we have to be in compliance. The FTA comes in and audit. You can't have a bus that's refurbished 7 years ago and you still keep in the bus.
So I'm just trying to.
So we will get everything into compliance.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're working on that.
Yes.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
So it's my understanding that you are now fully staffed in planning.
Yes.
Do any of your planners have any transit experience?
So transit experience?
Yes.
Yes.
They do have transit experience.
Yes.
How many?
One.
One.
Yes, ma'am.
So the ones that do not, are you sending them for any training?
Yes, ma'am. And
Have you requested that training be in your budget?
It was already in my budget. I budgeted before they were hired, but yes, and you will see in your reports for the AFTA when we did the, one of my, yes, she went to the AFTA technology training. She sent you all a thank you note. And then we also, I'm sending 2 of my planners to another training session, in September.
Director Snowden had a question.
That's right.
Yeah, because they do that as well.
I was gonna, direct my question to the buses that were ours, that we sent away. They were buses that had been refurbished,
Yes.
had filled out their time for
Yes, ma'am.
6 years,
Yes.
and they could not be refurbished the second time.
Yes, you can. So when you do that, you inform the FTA that we have refurbished a bus. It gives 6 more years useful life. We pass all that. So this was.
And you can't do it again.
No, you can't do it.
That's what I
So
wanted to
that's-
ask.
Everything we're
On a
doing,
different bus,
everything we're doing is.
but not on the,
Not
he's
on the
saying
same
not on
bus.
the buses that he got rid of.
Right, you could do it on a different, but
On a different bus.
yes.
pick a different.
And I
I
like.
understand that. I want
Yes.
it to be
Yes,
clear.
and I like Director Day's idea, and that's what we should be looking to. But the problem is, the grant, when the grant is awarded, it has restrictions. Can we use side grant to buy used buses? This is
So
what,
you're saying,
that's what we have to
when
find
it
out.
comes fleet has been refurbished before, that you send it off the yard.
How many have been sent out? About 6?
27 has
Yeah,
been
about
refurbished.
6.
But you telling me 607, 8542
If-
all been refurbished?
I would say for time purposes, I'll provide that for the board to see when this buses were refurbished, how many miles have we put on them, and why are we disposing of them? They've done useful life, refurbished, over mileage. And you know, one thing I want the board and even the union to understand, that in the event of any major accident, we are held reliable. We are held liable because.
No, we understand that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so.
But what we
we
don't
can-
do is-
Yes, we have done all that.
What we're gonna have to do is wait on your report,
Yes.
and then we'll proceed forward at that time. Yes.
That's the vote.
Thank you.
Thank Next. Our financial report. Well, it'll go.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Okay. Today, we will give a brief update on our finances. First, we have our financial overview, and the slide reads year-to-date actual versus year-to-date budget comparison. And as we know, we just closed out our first period for fiscal year 2025. So therefore, our July actual revenues 2.2, our year-to-date actual 2.2. Our year-to-date budget for revenues is 3 million. We have a variance between our actual and our budget of 849,000. Our revenue shows a variance basically because there has been a shortage, and not really a shortage, maybe to rephrase that, is the timing of when our revenues come in throughout the year. July is typically one of our lower months, so therefore we have the variance. Our expenses for the month, 1.6, and our budget, 2.8. We have a variance of 1.2. Next slide, please. Our next slide shows our bank account balances as of July 31st. For operating, we have a balance of 12,000,008, grant 4.1 million, and our Georgia Fund 1 investment account of 8.5. Next slide. This is a snapshot of our Georgia Fund reserve account. Our reserve account, as I just stated, has a balance of 8.5. During the month of July, we received interest of $38,943. You would also notice that, according to our reserve policy, our 3 months operating budget should be $9,264,000. So that's why we're requesting the increase in the Georgia Fund 1 account, so that we will have enough to compensate for 3 months operating expense. Next slide.
This slide shows the cash receipts that we received during the month of July. Special district taxes, 821,000. Paratransit funds, 495,000. And these were the funds that we received for paratransit for June's service. City of Savannah POR fees, this is a timing issue. We have reached out to the city. They assured us that the check is. Yes. That's the per occupancy rate. It actually aids the expenses of the marine services. Yeah.
Zero.
Only because we have not received the funding for the month, yeah, so therefore next month we should have two payments. FTA grant assistance, 263,000, and our DOT shuttle, this is 2 months, revenue. Our operating cash balance, 12,751,000 as of July 31st, 2024. Next slide. The next slide is just a projection for fiscal year 2025, and this is what we're projected to receive in revenues. You can note that some months the balances are lower, and these are months that the revenues are coming in lower. And one of the agencies that we receive funding for, that we do receive variable amounts, is the special district tax. Our heaviest months to receive special district tax: November, December, May, and June. Next slide. That concludes my presentation. Is there any questions?
No, but I would like to thank you for stepping up and doing a great job.
Yes.
We really appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for the support you're providing. Thank you so much.
Next on our contractual monthly update, we've already heard from, Seacrest. Slightly Patton Bond.
They put a report.
Yeah, we have your reports and your.
We saw a report.
All right, moving on to old new business. Any questions? Comment?
What's going on with this IT technology update? I don't
You'll,
understand.
you'll have it next month
Okay,
in workshop.
in workshop.
Yes.
Okay.
And under new business, Mr. Chairman, I talked to you a little bit about maybe moving our meetings from 4 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, I want to,
If the board is interested in that, so we don't get out quite as late.
want to take a vote on that one. I mean, we're going to get we can do a raise of hands on who prefer 3 o'clock, who prefer 4 o'clock, for next board meeting.
Y'all just tell me.
3 o'clock versus 4 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock would be much better. Bobby, how do you feel?
I'm flexible. Yeah.
Mary, you like 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock is better for me. What about you?
All right, Tim. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 2, 3. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning, y'all.
3 o'clock.
4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's when I wake up.